So our guest speaker, the one and only Billy Nungesser, is the 54th Lieutenant Governor of the state of Louisiana. Since taking office in 2016, he and his team have guided the state to record-breaking tourism numbers in each of the last 4 consecutive years prior to the pandemic. Upon taking office, several state parks were slated to close. Today, not only have they remained open, but now are making money. He is immediate past chairman of the National Lieutenant Governors Association and used his position to promote shared priorities and foster multi-state solutions to multiple problems such as imported seafood and seafood safety. Over the last years, he has helped hundreds of charitable organizations, but those he's most passionate about involve the elderly, veterans, and special needs citizens. In 2019, he was elected to a second term with 68% of the vote. That's more votes than any other statewide elected official since 2008. He truly is a lieutenant governor for all of Louisiana. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser.
Thank you. And it's my fault she didn't walk up. I was talking when she was supposed to come up to the mic, so I apologize I'm always talking. Thank y'all for having me. Congratulations to the newly elected officials. I'll tell you, Kenner politics, I don't have to tell you, it's colorful. But the one thing I love about Kenner, you're engaged. The community, the elected officials. I wish every community around Louisiana had such engaged citizens, whether it be for the greater good of the schools, cleaning up. They're very passionate about this community. So I'm really honored to be here and go through a bunch of the things we're doing, but then also I want to hear from you. There's a lot of exciting things happening out here that I want to help do everything possible that I can. You know, in looking at some of the things we're doing in state government, people say, why do you do that? It's not really your job. And I go back to coming, and I know several of you before you were in politics, you had a business or you worked in a business. And trying to make common sense out of how we do things, that business background really helps. And so I think if we can get more people involved in politics that actually have had a business or worked in a business that understand that, we can turn around some of the things in state government we really struggle with. One of the things I wanted to mention, I always get accused of doing things that's not under my umbrella, but one thing I'm really passionate about is the Mississippi River. I come from a parish where I was parish president for 2 terms. It is the only port in the world that is run by a council government, and that's why we cut grass for 100 miles. No business wants to deal with a government when structuring a deal to buy, lease, or develop a port. And it's something I tried to change when I was parish president, was unsuccessful. But when you look at Houston, and you look at Gulfport, you look at Alabama, you look at all of the businesses that are going there because of the growth in the port activity, and I'm not sure of the answer yet. I'm not sure if we need a regional port with somebody from Kenner, Jefferson, Plaquemines, St. Bernard, and New Orleans, or just add a seat to their board to encompass the whole river, to put things where they best make sense and not have this fight at Parish or Lange. You know, right now the Port of New Orleans is trying to develop a container port in St. Bernard. Well, a lot of people in St. Bernard are saying, hey, you're not coming into our neighborhood and tell us you want a port. There needs to be a partnership, a cooperation between our parishes. We've got the greatest asset in the Mississippi River, and we need to take advantage of it. And I'll talk a little bit more on how we are taking advantage of it. And I think there's a real opportunity here in Kenner for the riverboats going up the river. Now, one of the organizations under my office I'm most proud of is Volunteer Louisiana. Over the last 5 years, we've grown that organization to over 10,000 volunteers, and I believe right now we have about 61 nonprofit or faith groups that sign up as our partners. And before, during, and after a disaster, you can go to volunteerlouisiana.gov and put in to get trees removed from your yard. And the Baptist ministries have a lot of great guys with chainsaws that go out and clean the trees out. We have crews that muck and gut your house. And even some people that don't have insurance to rebuild their homes, we have crews through AmeriCorps, Samaritan's Purse, will go in and rebuild your home. The good thing about Volunteer Louisiana, we stay on the ground until everyone's back in their home. We still have crews down in Cameron, and we're all across the coast. And it gives you that, if we've been through enough hurricanes, when you feel forgotten and somebody from out of town or from another part of the state shows up to help you, it's sure that warm and fuzzy feeling when you're feeling down on your luck. But this is a great organization. We continue to grow and expand the things we do. And as I'll talk a little bit about the partnership in state parks, we're looking at doing some housing plans so after disaster we can take care of our own residents and not have to wait for a FEMA trailer. Now, another industry that was greatly impacted was the seafood industry. And one of our greatest assets for tourism, and sometimes we take advantage or we don't realize how lucky we are to have that great fresh seafood. But think about it. After a hurricane, if you have to move out your house for damage, you still can get up and go to work the next day. These shrimpers, crabbers, they lost their house, their boat, and their dock. No way to make a living, no way to feed their family, and it's been pretty incredible tough for these families. And 2 years in a row, from Cameron to Lafitte, Grand Isle, we still haven't got all the boats back in the water in Cameron, so it has devastated that industry. And one thing we need to do better is have a plan before the storm to recover the boats, get them lifted. A lot of people volunteered, gave money, rented cranes, barges, and we got a lot of boats brought up with private citizens. But that's one plan we need to put in place to get these boats back in commerce as quickly as possible. Now, I'm going to mention a sore subject with a lot of people, but I know you care, and I need you to get involved and learn more about these diversions on the river. There's a packet at the back of the room. There's a lot in here. But we need to know what's about to happen to Louisiana. I believe this is the biggest fraud ever pulled over our face. $2 billion for a diversion. It can't build land above the water line. Cannot. Water cannot jump up and build a berm to lower storm surge. So it won't lower storm surge. But what's really disturbing about this $2 billion plus project, at 11:59 on a Friday night, our congressman changed the Marine Mammal Act. Instead of studying what this diversion is going to do to the fisheries, the dolphins, the turtles, the shrimp, the crab, the oysters, they're going to monitor for 5 years after they build it. Who in their right mind would want to know after you spend $2 billion? And 5 years from now, if the studies that I've been able to find are right, it'll be too late. The St. Andrew Institute, world-renowned, the Marine Mammal Commission out of Washington, I met with them 3 weeks ago, says if we build this diversion, dolphins will be extinct within 50 years. They just upped that study to say 90% I think will be dead in the first 10 years. Why is a dolphin important? One, it's a beautiful animal. Smartest animal in the Gulf. The dolphin is not leaving. It's territorial. You're not leaving your house. So it dies a horrible, agonizing death with sores all over its body. I don't know why it's dying. But more importantly than that, if you've ever heard the saying, the dolphin is the canary in the coal mine, when the canary dies, get out, the oxygen's gone, you're going to die next. Well, it is the canary in the coal mine. When it dies, everything below it will die. Last year, we had the largest dead zone in the Gulf ever, 7,000 miles. Offshore, the storm moves, that wind moves that water 15 feet every day, mixes it up. We're going to dump that same water in the Barataria Basin where the storm surge is less than 2 feet a day, and we don't think it's going to kill everything? It's not a freshwater diversion. It is a polluted river. Dr. Solange in Mississippi asked me, is everybody in Louisiana either crooked or why would they want this? Mississippi's going to sue if they issue a permit to stop that one because they know it will devastate the fishing industry. And people, and you'll ask me when we finish here, why isn't more people speaking out? Well, when I put this study on the Seafood Promotion Board, which I am over, I was told if I didn't take it down, they would defund the seafood money. The chairman of finance, Jerome Zerain, threatened me. So I took it down. But I told everybody, I'm the wrong guy to threaten. I just want the truth. I just want the things that have been done. And why wouldn't you do the study? Chip Klein said, if we did the study, we probably couldn't build it. 3 other things. He said, don't worry, Billy, we're going to give $60 million to rehabilitate the dolphins. You can't rehabilitate a dead dolphin. And besides, the BP money is to build our coast back that they destroyed. Chip Klein does not have the authority to take a portion of that BP money and use it to repair the damage he's going to do. He doesn't have that authority. And he said, well, don't worry, Billy, we're going to give $10 million to the shrimpers and give them refrigeration on the back of their boat so they go further out and catch shrimp. My daddy was in the shrimp business. Anybody that knows the shrimp business knows shrimp grow in the basin. When they mature, then they go offshore. If you kill them there, the shrimpers will need fuel tanks. They'll have to go to Mississippi to catch, Mexico to catch shrimp. What is going on here? Last but not least, in 2019, we opened the spillway because the river was high. A few days in, Wildlife and Fishery, which has an agreement or had an agreement with NOAA to rescue dolphins, turtles, injured animals. 4 days in, I think they rescued 5 or 7 dolphins. Found them dead, didn't rescue them. That dirty water killed them. They went to NOAA and said, we're no longer going to rescue dolphins. Why not? We're just not going to do it. Well, they didn't want you to know, they didn't want to find those dolphins. Dr. Solange, who runs the Marine Mammal Institute in Gulfport, and a lot of you fishermen, you know how many dolphins the spillway killed in that short period of time? We found 337 dead from the polluted water. And we don't think this diversion is going to wipe out our fisheries. You couldn't catch a crab for 2 years in the lake, and that algae bloom was dead over the lake for a year. Get involved, and listen, most of the elected officials, if they're in a coastal community, have been threatened. Speak out against it, you'll lose your money. The chairman of the St. Tammany Council, when I went and spoke to him, they voted 100% we don't want it. He got a call from Congressman Graves and said, if you don't change it, you're not getting coastal money. The next week they came back and said we're no longer against the diversion. And I can't blame them, because I wouldn't want to lose my coastal money either. But why are we threatening people when this is a study done by a renowned university commissioned by the Marine Mammal Commission? And listen, if killing the dolphins was going to, next year you don't have to worry about a hurricane, maybe, but it's not going to give us any flood protection. We could lease a dredge today and start pumping and build an 8-foot berm, 8 foot high, 1,000 feet wide, which is certified to lower storm surge 5 feet. And we got Obama to build it to keep the oil out the marsh. That was part of our plan. We could build that berm for that $2 billion, 275 miles. Lower storm surge 5 feet to the whole coast in our lifetime, and lower insurance rates. But leasing a dredge long-term does not make a lot of consultants rich. And for people to say, well, we can't stop now, we've already spent $200 million. Who would spend $200 million on a project that you don't even have a permit for yet? Where we went wrong is we dumped all this money into a fund that Bobby Jindal and CPRA, under Garrett Graves at the time, had control of, and they've been writing checks ever since. Mary Landrieu's firm has been paid $8 million in Washington. How long she's been a consultant? $8 million? We need to all get involved and stop this. We got enough money from BP to save our coast. God help us if we waste it. We will never get this chance again. All right, now I'm going to talk about some fun stuff. Sorry, I'm a little passionate about that. So prior to COVID, we had 5 record-breaking years in tourism. Over 50 million people visited little Louisiana. In 2019, they left behind $1.9 billion in taxes that you and I didn't have to pay. That's a little over $1,100 per Louisiana family. The economic value, and hundreds of hotels went up all over the state to handle the influx of tourists. We hit so far above our weight in tourism, but we're just getting started when we got shut down with COVID. But during COVID, our teams all over the state stayed in touch with travel agents all over the world. We got out on the riverfront and we sent every travel agent in Canada a little Sazerac glass and a mix. And we had a bartender mix that drink, and then I toasted them, 700 travel agents across Canada. And I said, the beer's cold, the gumbo's hot. When you can travel again, we want you in Louisiana. And then we lit up the Superdome and the Governor's Mansion and other buildings on Canadian Day, July 1st, and sent those pictures all over Canada, letting them know we want them back in Louisiana. We did that in Germany, Australia, France. So we kept people hungry for Louisiana so they could travel again. And I'm proud to say the partnerships all over Louisiana, last year, we were back a lot further than we ever thought we would be. Over 41 million people visited Louisiana through these phases of COVID, and we're so proud of every Louisiana that took a staycation, because it kept a lot of businesses making it during tough times. Now, we knew we were competing against every state coming out of COVID, and I want to thank the governor and the legislators for giving us the funds to do things we've never done before. I hope y'all got a chance to see the Macy's Day Parade. What an incredible float. Now, you know, when we first got accepted, they sent us a float, and I said, we're not putting our name on that. We build floats. We need a wow factor. Well, after going back and forth over a couple of months, we got a wow factor. The longest float ever, and that alligator crawling down the streets of New York, blowing confetti, and what a hit. We got John Batiste to ride and sing. And when we picked him, we didn't know, weeks later he'd get nominated for many Grammys and win many. He stole the show. And weeks leading up to that, if you went in Times Square at night, you'd see an alligator eye on all those screens, and it would be blinking, and people would stop and look. And then it would zoom out and say, get ready, New York, Louisiana's coming. We stole the show. Incredible response. That float cost us $1.3 million for 3 years. Press got a little upset. Will we ever get our return on investment? Over $20 million in ad value and coverage the first year. Our website was up 800% after this, people looking to book trips to Mardi Gras. Now that was so successful, we decided to go out to California and give a shot at getting a float in the Rose Bowl parade. Now we walked in on Monday morning and the young lady had a pin on and it said, dream, believe, achieve. I said, ma'am, what's your pin mean? She said, well, that's our theme this year. I said, she said, well, will you be riding with us? And I had to think quick. I said, no, ma'am. I said, we're going to put all the good Louisiana has to offer. We're going to put a teacher of the year, a police officer, a nurse, a doctor that risked their life during COVID. We're going to put a first responder, a volunteer, Miss Louisiana. And once again, we stole the show. Everything on that float is a rose, seed, fruit, vegetable. Louisiana is made from shaved coconut. Everything has to be covered in some type of seed or plant. We won the best floral design and best entertainment. And when the judges came through, every day, we found a lady in Pasadena that has a beignet truck. So we brought her in and had hot beignets from 5 in the morning till 9 o'clock. Once again, we stole the show. Now, I'll tell you this. if you get a chance this year, you need to come out and help us decorate this float. One of the greatest experiences of my life to see in 3 days that steel float go from nothing to 34,000 roses on our float. And those volunteers have been volunteering, some of them since they were teenagers, they're in their 80s. But Louisianans can come out and help us. You don't have to be there all day, every day. But it will be an experience of your life that I promise you won't forget. Now, this year, coming out of COVID, a lot of our fairs, festivals, and events don't have the money they would normally have because they've been shut down for 2 years. So we committed to fund and sponsor every event. So we're giving out grants for you to promote your own fair festival, and we're doing matching grants. And if you don't have matching grants, we'll put up the money 100%. And we want every event to be a success. You know, every year the Strawberry Fest has suffered because of French Quarter Fest competing. I promised them this year they would have a successful event. Well, we overdid a little bit. I think at 300-something thousand, they had to shut down the highway. Unbelievable. But if any event, large or small, we can push it out through social media and make sure it's a great success. And we surely want to do this here in Kenner for any event you have. Now, we talked about, when you introduced me, about the financial situation when I got in office with the state parks. But I'm proud to say we not only didn't close any state parks, but through our private-public partnership and cutting wasteful spending, we not only kept them all open. Today, 7 state parks are actually making money. And if we can do the things I know we can do with state parks, I see a day when all of our parks will generate millions of dollars that we'll be able to use in your community for culture, recreation, and tourism. If you want to build some cabins in one of our state parks and want to split 80-20, we want to talk to you. If you want to build a little bit nicer cabin, because we can only charge so much because the legislators want them to be affordable for Louisianans, so you might want to build a luxury cabin and charge an extra $100 a night. I promise they'll rent out, and we'll split with you. Great opportunity for a young entrepreneur, somebody that wants to get into a business. Anything that makes good sense. What we won't do is we won't let someone open a restaurant in the park. We want them to come out and eat at your restaurant. We won't let them compete with a local business. So we will vet everything with the chambers, the elected officials, and make sure it's a win-win. And I'll tell you, a new venture we did is the glamping. Has anybody been glamping? You got to try this. It's a tent on a platform, so you don't have to sleep on the ground. My wife will never sleep on the ground because of snakes, so you're up on a platform. You got a queen-size bed, and before you go buy all the camping gear, if you think you might want to like it, all you need is a sleeping bag. Now, we have one that you take a canoe out onto an island, you're all by yourself. So make sure you're with somebody you like. We have another one, 3 miles in the woods in North Louisiana, they give you bear spray, because you might come across a bear. I kind of like the one you drive your car right up next to. They got 2 of those at Fontainebleau that are really nice. But this has been wildly successful. We're adding new sites as we speak, and our take over this partnership this year has already been $250,000, and it's a great asset bringing people in from all over the world. I met some people in the park the other day. They glamp all over the country from New York, and they're actually glamping at 3 of our state parks. Great opportunity. Those are the kind of things we're looking for. Another thing that has been wildly successful is the mountain bike trail, Bogue Chitto. Has anybody been there? All right, y'all got to get out more. So this bike trail has been picked the #2 bike trail in the country. But more importantly than that, 2 private-public partnerships at Bogue Chitto has put Washington Parish on the map. This and horseback riding, sold out horseback riding every weekend. You can take a half a day or a full day. Well, now we get $2 a half day, $4 a whole day. He charges $30 and $50, but he's got to feed them. Doing great. If you go to Washington Parish on the weekend, you will see horse trailers in town, cars with bikes on top of it. It is really turned that whole parish around. As a matter of fact, on any weekend, people are staying as far away in hotels and they meet to ride this mountain bike trail. I think on any given weekend, 12 to 1,500 people. One weekend we had them from 11 states. Take a look at this trail. Yeah, it's pretty incredible to think that one private-public partner could bring so many in from so far. But we're looking for new creative ideas, things we can do that will bring people in the community and enhance the visitation and make money at our state parks. Now, I talked earlier about the river and the ports. We have a real opportunity here. I know early on, Chris, you had taken me out to look at the dock in Kenner. I think this is a great opportunity for Kenner to get a dock on that river and have one of those boats, one, either start out of Kenner or when it leaves New Orleans, make its first stop here. What a great thing to have a band in Rivertown and have them go through and shop. What a great shot in the arm for this community if we could do that. And I want to help you do that. We went and looked at the dock that's been damaged. I have worked with several of the communities upriver on securing and helping them through the permit process. You got to call every week the Corps and the Coast Guard and keep on them. But if this community wants to do that, I want to help you. And look, we can sit down with the cruise lines, and if we don't do it with a grant or state funds, we can actually get a private investor to build a dock. Because like in Vidalia, they spend in, I think, $8 a day for every person that comes off. So I'm willing to help in any way I can, set up the meetings. Viking Cruise Line, we just signed an agreement, first time ever to take large groups to Poverty Point, the World Heritage Site. Has anybody been there? You guys are gonna get out more. So it is it's way up north, and it's very difficult to get groups to go up there. Now we're gonna take bus loads. They're gonna dock in Mississippi, we're gonna bus them there. We bought a new tram, and we're gonna take people from all over the world. These cruise lines on the river, we're expecting 12 to 15 boats in the next 5 to 7 years. Incredible opportunity. And look, they're not cheap. You can't get on one of these boats for what you can go out to sea. These people have money, and we can create opportunities and get them off for a day to spend it here in Kenner and spend some money. So I look forward to working with the officials here to make sure we do what we can to expedite that. Now, something I'm very passionate about is litter. 2 years ago, we got the legislators to move Keep Louisiana Beautiful under my office. Well, I kind of beat my head against the wall working with the state agencies, not getting a lot done. Be careful what you ask for. So I complained. The governor put a task force under my office and 26 agencies, state police, sheriffs, the DOTD, wildlife fishery, all attend these monthly meetings, and we will give a report back to the governor July 1st, how we are really gonna keep Louisiana beautiful, because it's not beautiful. But what we've learned through these meetings is, one, we spent a lot of money on litter cleanup that wasn't doing their job. Some of them are actually doing their job. And I want to tell you, DOTD employees pick up trash for 10 minutes on the job site before they start work every time they go to work. Wildlife and fishery at the last meeting talked about the waterways they've cleaned up in the last month. And DEQ has shut down and cleaned up several dump sites and put cameras out. So if you're dumping, don't do it, we're going to catch you. We're changing some state laws where you can report dumping and illegal people that litter. You see, less than 14% of people actually litter, and we pay the price for it. Y'all, we can do this. We must do this. When you invite a family over to your house, you clean up. We're opening our doors back up to the world. It's time to clean up our state. I ask every elected official to go speak in the schools. I spoke last week in Alexandria. I told third graders, you go home and tell your parents if they litter, you're going to call the lieutenant governor. I had 3 moms call my office. Did the lieutenant governor tell my son? I said, yes, ma'am, we did. They love to tell their parents what to do. We can do this. We must do this. When I was parish president of Plaquemines, I put 21 garbage cans on an angle on Highway 23. 90% of the garbage went in or around those cans. Most people missed it. We had to empty them 3 or 4 times a week, but it cleaned up that highway. We've got $500,000. We're going to be giving out grants to towns, cities, parishes, if you agree to empty them, to put those in hot spots, to keep it clean. People will pull over and take a shot at it if there's somewhere to put it. We're asking every strip mall, shopping center, Walmart, put the garbage cans back out in the parking lot. You used to do this and empty them. And we're asking every business to keep the place, the highway in front of their business clean. Look, love the boot week this year, April 18th. On a normal year, we get 50, 60 groups. This year, 280 groups in 54 parishes, over 8,000 volunteers, 40,000 hours, 293 tons of litter, more than we've ever picked up. We had people out there that are passionate about cleaning up. Every fourth Saturday is a cleanup day in Louisiana. We can do this if we all work together. We're looking for new ideas. I'll come meet with any groups. And we're working on a portal where you'll be able to sign up and adopt a highway, a street, a block. Give us before and after pictures. But get involved. It's something we can really do and make a difference. I'm going to share with you a commercial that we just put out to get people excited and show this isn't a Democrat, Republican, or North-South issue. This is a Louisiana issue we can all work together on.
It's a little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's a little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It's a little light of mine.
Louisiana, it's time to put the paradise
Back in our sportsman's paradise.
Visit letlouisianashine.org.
To keep Louisiana beautiful.
Let it shine.
So that's a commercial that's going to be going out in the next couple of weeks to get people excited about cleaning up Louisiana, and then we'll have to keep it clean. Now, I know y'all have seen this before, but it never gets old to me, and I promise next year I'll have a new video for you. But when we knew we had to compete against all the other states for tourism dollars coming out of COVID, what better way than the second most recognized song in the world next to Happy Birthday, which is You Are My Sunshine. Y'all ain't awake yet, are you? So we knew the governor's voice wasn't quite what we were looking for. So we've signed up, who's been an ambassador for the last 5 years, Lauren Daigle. And this video is so absolutely beautiful that she has bought the rights to put it on her next album. We just won an international award for coming out of COVID with the best plan because of this video. Because if you notice in the video, we highlight all the great outdoors of Louisiana. Because we know people bought record numbers, RVs, canoes, boats, and they're going to see the outdoors of America. So what better time to highlight Sportsman's Paradise? Like I tell people, you can fish anywhere, but you catch fish in Louisiana. So take a look.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You come to Louisiana for smiles, not souvenirs. You come here to get lifted up, spun around, and put down in a brighter, lighter place. You make me happy when skies are gray. You come here for the distinctive music and the amazing food. But what really spills out of the horns and over the edges of your plate is joy. Some people might call it joie de vivre, the joy of life. In Louisiana, It's our way of life. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine away. So come live life to the fullest, where there's an abundance of good food, good music, and good times. So there's more than enough to go around. Come one, come y'all. This is Lauren Daigle, inviting you to come feed your soul in Louisiana. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. So please don't take my sunshine. Please don't take my, please don't take my sunshine away.
Thank y'all very much. We got time for questions? We got time for questions?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Volunteer Louisiana, where you said something about them going and taking things out of backyards and stuff. How do you contact them?
Well, you go to Volunteer Louisiana and sign up, address what's needed, and they'll download that task. Somebody will call you. We had 18,674 requests for this storm. We've closed out 10,300 and something already, so we're still working on them. But you go to volunteerlouisiana.gov, and if it's something that needs a high priority, like some of the trees were blocking people in their homes, just call me, and we'll make sure we get them out there a lot quicker.
We had several large trees fell on homes that the city couldn't go on the property.
Yeah.
Obviously. So,
Yeah, we've advertised it a bunch. I'm glad that, and I'll send y'all a little something so you'll have it. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Lieutenant Governor, can you hit on again you were talking about litter, and you will provide the garbage cans if we do the pickup?
Yes, and thank you for your help on that. You've been a great ambassador. Yeah, we're going to provide these garbage cans where you'll find, you're going to have to put them where somebody can pull over out of traffic. So they got to be a shoulder, throw the garbage out. And whether it's a hot area, we're trying to get permission right now from DOTD where that circle puts you on the interstate to put it there before they get on the interstate. And then a couple areas where you could pull over under the interstate and drop it. And then you'll see there's a little sign on the top. When we run out of money, we're going to try to encourage you to have the local, maybe a lawyer wants to put his name on there and sponsor some of those. But yes, we're going to have a form we're putting together now and send out to the parishes and cities to apply for it. We get that money July 1st with the new budget. So that's when it will be available, after July 1st. Any other questions? So I want to mention two things. One is, when about a year or so ago, I saw this young lady at LSU, Christian, who graduated, was on the beach volleyball, and she was like, if I can find a sponsor, I'm going to go pro. So knowing we got this influx of money from COVID, so we called her. I actually personally called her and said, look, we'd like to sponsor you, but you got to wear Louisiana Feed Your Soul and put a banner up, and we did. And she's coming to Kenner. But more importantly than that, they are the #1 ranked. They will be in the Olympics in 2024 in Paris. The other contender got hurt, and they are so far out of their class of winning tournaments all over. So I want to make sure we do something special for that tournament here, whatever it is. And another thing, I want to offer my support and do something special. On February 18th, 2023, the Crew of Iris is going to be back in Kenner. Great success last year, but this is their 50th anniversary. So whether we got to throw a big party in Kenner and get free Louisiana seafood from the Seafood Board, but whatever it is, those two events are going to be special to me, simply because I got a place in my heart for the women's cruise, since my great aunt was the first woman ever to march in Mardi Gras in New Orleans when they threw rocks and spit on her and her 5 friends, but that didn't stop her. So I love to see these women's crews grow and really dominate Mardi Gras now. So we want to make this year a little special, being it's the 50th anniversary, and this city stepped out and brought that crew here. Comes with a lot of expense, a lot of problems, but it's surely a shot in the arm for this community, and I applaud you for that and look forward to working with you on that. Thank y'all again for having me. Have a great day.